When you hear the name Confucius, the first thing that comes to mind is Chinese philosopher. But did you also know that he has the longest family tree in the world according to the Guinness Book of World Records? His family tree spans 25 years and more than 80 generations. Studying your genealogy can provide answers to who your ancestors were, where they came from, and how they lived their lives. Genealogy can also uncover many hidden gems in your family tree. We will briefly discuss what genealogy is, the basics of getting started, and what you can do with this information you gather. I will start off by explaining what genealogy is. The simple definition is the study of family history. Historically, family history has been passed down from generation to generation by word of mouth. The first known documented use of genealogy was in the 14th century to display royal pedigrees. This is an example of the first documented ancestor tree. It was done by a gentleman named Michael Eitzinger in 1590. Here's another example of a family tree from the book of Genesis chapter 4. It's the first documented tree in the Bible, if you don't consider Cain and Abel. It's Cain's tree of 7 generations. Genealogy is one of the world's most popular hobbies. Hundreds of million people around the globe are engaged in some form of family research. But why? I think it's because genealogy can be used as a form of storytelling to preserve your past. Next, we'll talk about the basics of getting started on your family tree. First, talk to your oldest living relatives. Take good notes and make audio recordings if possible. Look at family Bibles and make copies. Make copies of marriage licenses and birth certificates. Try to determine counties and states that your family may have migrated through. Second, learn the standard rules of referencing and recording information. This is a reference from genealogy.com, and it shows how to reference names. For males, it's first, middle, and surname capitalized. For females, it's the same process, only you use the maiden name for the female. And if you don't know the maiden name, you put a blank in parentheses. For dates, you use a 2-digit day, you spell out the month, and you use a 4-digit year. For places, city, county, state, and country. Third, how do you put the data together? This is an example of an ancestor chart. This chart is 1, 2, 3, 4 generations. So this is one way you can store your data once you record it. Second way, family group sheets. This is a history of a specific family with the mother and father and their children listed. What are the common mistakes? Spelling, one of the most common mistakes. Here's an example of how our name is spelled correctly and how it was spelled incorrectly in all the records that I found. So 6 different ways it was documented that it was spelled incorrectly. Narrowing your search too tightly is another way of making a mistake. Use wildcards if possible. Giving up is another huge mistake. Finally, how can you use this information? You can determine if you have Native American blood. You can trace lineage to military veterans, or you can establish links to important historical events. As an example, my cousin Mindy discovered that our grandfather served at the Battle of the Bulge and crossed the bridge at Remagen the day before it collapsed. In my own personal research, I found that we had 9 direct ancestors who served in the Civil War. In conclusion, genealogy provides a tool to share your family's history with future generations. Anyone can do it. All it takes is a little time, effort, and determination, and you'll be surprised at what you can unearth. If you find it interesting, you can even use the information. It can become very addictive, especially with each new discovery.